So I took pretty much everything out of the glass, got the burner and all the coals there, and you can see straight away the problem is I can pull this as far as there, because these cables that you use to tighten it up, look how loose they are. And what they've done, see they've got 3 1.5" there, they've actually plugged it and screwed it into the surround, because these were loose and I guess they didn't want to bother taking the burner out to get to them and fix it. What's up guys, thanks for tuning in to my latest video, the life of a jobbing plumber. If you've not seen one before, it's basically me at work as a plumber, gas engineer, filming jobs that I think you'll find interesting or you might learn something from. Before we start, just a quick one. The reason I'm in my gym kit, I've just finished the gym, it's 4 o'clock on a Sunday. If I don't do the intro bit now, by the time I get home, I'll have lost the light, so that's why. And just wanted to say to everyone who messaged me after last week's video, left a comment, sort of saying welcome back, really kind, loved reading them. I will get through them all when I've got more time and reply to everyone, so thanks for that. So this week's video, I've got a gas fire repair that I did that came from a gas certificate. I've got a issue with a boiler making a weird noise, that was on a gas certificate as well. Issue with the plume kit, and then a style that I've not filmed before. I basically walked into a job filming from the start so I could get the woman explaining to me what the issue was, because I thought people might find it interesting to see how a customer sort of tells you what the problem is, because half our job is trying to work out what the issue is so we can solve it. If they don't tell you the truth or they don't get it right, it can take you longer to work out what the actual problem was. So our job's kind of like getting as much information, background information on the fault as possible so we can get a picture and then we can solve it. So I thought it would be interesting to anyone sort of new to the industry or who wants to be a plumber or a gas engineer to see what we have to deal with. And it's her explaining what she thinks the problem is. The other guys have been out and couldn't work it out, explaining me how she uses the system, and then I sort of do a real-time fault finding to work out what the actual problem was. So hopefully you find it interesting. If you do, leave me a comment, let me know if you want me to do more like that. But yeah, see what you think. Hope you enjoy this week's video, and thank you. Obviously, if you like it, bang a like on it, subscribe, all that stuff. It helps me out. Cheers guys. Okay,
so I'll explain to you what happens,
yeah,
and see what you think. So that's our boiler. I normally know it's happening because I can hear the boiler whirling.
yeah.
So is it, you know, like when you do the hot water and you can hear a noise?
Yeah.
It sounds like that when it's happening, but I'm not running anything.
Is the noise coming from the boiler or upstairs?
It's coming from here. It makes that noise. Like it's not a really loud noise, it can be quite a softer sound.
Oh, you mean it's sort of, you think it's going to fire up when you're not asking it to?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So it's firing up on its own.
Okay.
Because it's normally if I've done like loads of dishes or the washing.
Yeah.
And it just kind of like whirs up like that, as if something's asking it to make hot water.
But then it doesn't actually come on.
But I've not done anything to make it do that.
Yeah.
Obviously, if I run the tap, sometimes it can get like scalding hot.
Right.
Which is maybe an issue. And then upstairs, shall I show you what's happening upstairs?
Yeah.
So we want a cryptic. I've tried the reason I contacted you because I've spoken to estate agents, we've tried other people and they're all like, oh, I don't really know.
Yeah.
And then one said it could be the thermostat, it could be a dodgy thermostat. So what happens is, when I hear that noise, water, so we're about to put that on it, water flows down here quite rapidly.
Okay.
But we're not pressing anything, we're not doing anything. It's just all of a sudden that noise starts, and it's like for ages.
Yeah.
Like just comes on forever. This starts splutting out water, it's going down there.
Yeah.
It just floods out, and then outside there's an overflow pipe.
Yeah, that's what that is.
and that's just pumping out boiling hot water.
Right, okay.
So I've had the water off today, so the reason I've not got any hot water is because I have to just keep switching it off, and the only way I can manage to stop that from happening is if I switch the water off. But obviously it's just stressful because I don't know how much gas it's using, I don't know how much water it's using, because it feels like it's just flowing like all night, sometimes all night it's on.
Yeah, okay.
And even if we switch everything off, there's some things obviously triggering it, and I can't work out what it is.
And you've had a few other people around the neighbourhood.
Yeah, we've had a couple more people come around, and they were like, is it a pressure valve? They've taken photos. Somebody said it could be the temperature gauge, a faulty temperature gauge, so it's just not switching off once the temperature gets to a high level.
Yeah, okay. I'll check it out.
Yeah, thanks. I don't know if that...
Okay, hope you're with me so far. So that was the customer explaining to me what the issue was. Basically, they've got red hot water coming out of the warning pipe outside. That's why they've wrapped some towels around just below that tun dish. So I'm just trying to work out what the issue might be. Feeling the expansion vessel there, it's quite heavy, so that's probably flat, not been serviced. Randomly, the hot water cylinder stat is set to 25 degrees, and she's using the immersion. So when she was explaining, she showed me that she has that turned on there. So I'm thinking maybe this immersion is on, and it's on at quite a high temperature, which is why they're getting the issue they're getting. So my first thought is I want to check if the immersion's got power to it, if it's actually working. Just a quick one, if you're using any kind of voltage tester, it's a great idea to get one of these proving units. Basically it proves your tester is working before you start touching live cables, because if your tester's faulty, you stick it on a live and it doesn't tell you it's live, and then you put your finger on it, you're going to get a shock. So they're really handy. It costs you about 50 quid, but it might save your life. So I wanted to just check if the immersion's working, if there's power to it. There is. And then I noticed that the stat is literally been left on the highest setting. It doesn't go any higher than that. Now there's no temperature indications on this, but it's obviously at its maximum, so that's going to be pretty hot. And it is clicking in and out on its thermostat, so probably is working okay. I'm just going to leave it set at a much lower temperature. So if they do ever use it, it's not going to get to those really hot temperatures that are making the TPRV go. So I'm going to leave that there. Then I'm checking that the programmer for the boiler downstairs works. So just going to boost it for an hour just to see if the valve opens and the pump kicks in, because that might be the reason why they're using the immersion. So I'm just trying to piece together what's going on at the minute. So the 2-port valve opens, pump comes on, so that's all working okay. So I need to go down and have a quick chat with the customer. Just a quick question.
Yeah.
So in the airing cupboard, you've got that switch that says hot water on it.
Well, the water
there.
heater, yeah.
Is that how you're heating your hot water? Do you turn that on and off?
I normally just leave it on.
Leave that on?
It's normally always left on.
Right, okay. Might be your problem.
Right.
Okay.
God. Right, okay. What, because it's constantly trying to heat it?
So that water heater switch,
Yeah.
if no one's ever told you,
Yeah.
is like a backup. It's like boiling the kettle when your boiler's broke.
Oh.
And the thermostat for that was set on maximum.
Right.
So you're basically boiling a kettle
Constantly.
which
Which is why it's overflowing.
is why it's getting very hot. Now it shouldn't get hot enough that it overflows,
Yeah.
but obviously it is.
Yeah.
So there's a few things I'm going to change, and you're going to have to let me know if it's improved it.
Thank you.
But that part that lets the water go outside the safety device, because it's blown, will probably need replacing.
Okay.
But I'll just get to the bottom of it.
Thank
But
you.
because you've got a gas boiler, you have a programmer in there. You should bring that on to heat the water.
Oh.
Now, the fact that you're doing electrically is why it's getting very hot, which also would cost you more than using the gas.
Because my bills have been so high.
Yeah. When did you move in? Been here a while?
Ages.
Oh, okay.
But no one's ever said anything, and all the people that have been in, I've always shown them that's what's been switched on, and they've never said anything.
Yeah. It's a shame. Okay.
But honestly, like last year, like I was saying to my dad, it's like 200 and something pounds a month.
Yeah.
There's 3 of us, and
When I leave, that will be off. You only need to put that on if your
Okay.
boiler breaks, or if you've used all your hot water and
then you want to boost.
and you want to boost it, then you can use that.
Right, oh
But
my
it
God.
is like switching your kettle on to heat up
That makes
150 litres of water.
But so right, because I've had that off today.
Yeah.
There's no hot water in there now.
Right. So I'll check what time your gas boiler is due to come on to do it, and we'll
so
make
the gas
sure.
boiler. God, I put so the gas boiler would normally heat the water and then just store it.
Yeah.
So I think it's normally overnight. I think. I don't know. Yeah, you can check.
Right, I'll check it. Yeah.
and see.
Look at the programmer now. It's been set for an hour in the morning, nothing at lunchtime, and then an hour at night. Probably not enough for the number of people in this family, and they're running out of hot water. So 6 till 8, 2 hours in the morning, and 4 till 8 at night. Obviously, if it comes on at 4 and it's hot by 4:30, 5, it's not going to carry on. It's just going to get to temperature and stop. But I'm satisfied that's all working. Zone valve's opening, pump's coming on, boiler's firing up, so that's going to heat their water. And of course, we're going to set the cylinder stat to the correct temperature as well. Now that should use the boiler downstairs to heat and not the immersion, because I've left that turned off. Obviously it's there as a backup if they need it. Now before I go, I've not got a TPRV on the van, but I am going to just recharge this vessel. I'll isolate the water, open one of the hot taps. Unfortunately I didn't have my Milwaukee pump on the van, so I'm having to do it old school manual style, all the way up to 3 bar with this Regan floor pump, which to be fair wasn't that hard. Did it in a couple of 3 minutes. So that's recharged, turned the water back on, left it running on gas on the boiler downstairs, explained to her about the immersion, and then I gave her a quote for replacing that TPRV. Now I've heard since that the landlord doesn't want to go ahead with me to replace that, so he's getting 3 quotes from other people to look at it, which is crazy. It's probably why she's in the mess she's in at the minute. But yeah, so just to recap, we're leaving that off. We're using the gas boiler, cylinder start's working, programmer's working, recharged the vessel, and told them that they're probably going to need a new TPRV. And we're leaving it at that. So you see this one here?
Yeah.
That's the temperature of the water stored in this tank,
Okay.
coming from the gas boiler.
Yeah.
It was on 25, and then we're just using this immersion. So I'm going to set that 55.
Yep.
If it's too hot, just turn it down more towards the 45.
Okay,
If it's not warm enough, you can go up to 65. Yeah, hopefully that'll be all right.
Thank you. You need to let me know what I owe you for your time and all that, so I'll message
Yeah, well, we'll wait to see if it's all okay over the next couple of days.
Yeah, thank you. No.
So I've got this boiler going in high rate and it sounds awful, like there's water in this flue or something. It keeps cutting out though because I've been doing it a little while, but when it kicks back in, listen to it. Spitting water out. Absolutely spitting it out. Definitely got some water in it. Sounds better already. Sounds better, and it's not spitting any water out either. So I don't know how the water's got into that. Whether it's not got a fall back to the boiler. Probably what it is. We've Right, that boiler flue just looked at. I was doing a gas certificate and I was just running the boiler in max rate and I could hear it bubbling away. So normally when you can hear a boiler doing that, it's the condense trap's blocked, but obviously this was the flue. Now I'm just gonna, because when I put this on my Instagram story, a lot of people asked why it was doing it and how it was doing it. So ordinarily you've got your standard flue here that's got a slight fall back to the boiler that way. So when the boiler condenses and you get the sort of plumage coming out there, any droplets of water that gather on the plastic on the internal flue will drip back into the boiler. Eventually they'll make their way down into the condense trap and then go to the drain. Now, if your flue was falling this way, so away from the boiler, what would happen in this scenario is all the droplets would just drip and outside the building you just get a puddle on the floor. But because they put a plume kit on, you've got an elbow there looking up and then they had the plume kit going that way. The water can't drip and it can't fall back to the boiler because the flue's falling this way, so it's just gathered in this elbow here. So you would have just had water sitting in like that, and then obviously the exhaust from the boiler is hitting it and making it gurgle and spraying the water out. So to fix this, obviously taking the elbow off, all the water dropped out, but we need to lift this flue up to create a fall back to the boiler, and that will stop it doing that. Hope that explains it. Right, I've got a job. Landlord's, well, he's decorating for someone else to move in. The last tenant here didn't want to use the fire, and when the gas engineer condemned it, they just turned it off and it's not been in use. The landlord would like it back in use, so I've got to investigate what's up with it. I've not seen the gas certificate, but he says it's something about this needs some new seals, but what I think it is, because I've already had a look. Is it's moving and there's a gap there. Oh, yeah, just ping that off. So I think it just wants taking out and then refitting. What would you do? Okay, so I took pretty much everything out of the glass, got the burner and all the coals there, and you can see straight away the problem is I can pull this as far as there because these cables that you use to tighten it up, look how loose they are. And what they've done, see they've got 3 1.5" there. They've actually plugged it and screwed it into the surround because these were loose, and I guess they didn't want to bother taking the burner out to get to them and fix it. So they've not drilled holes in this. These were holes that were already there. They look like proper holes. So yeah, I'm going to take this all out now, get it swept out of the back, there's quite a lot of crap out there, and then we'll start rebuilding it. So clean the back of that out. What I'm going to do is obviously fix this back on, and then if you can see the gap between the marble and the opening, I'm just going to fill that all the way around like there with some cement that just comes in a tube that you can use with your silicone gun because it's a lot easier than mixing up a bucket. So I'm going to get that done and then we can refit the firebox. Okay, see these eyelets there? One there, and then one there on the other side. These cables go through the back of this firebox, through the top 2, through the bottom 2, back through, and then you tighten them. So they're like tensile cables, and that pulls the fire back, and that's what had happened. One of them had fell out, they become loose, so there was a gap. So I'm going to refit it now with these properly, pull that in tight, and see if we get a good seal. So see, they go through the top of the box and then they're through both of those, and then as I pull on the bottom ones, it pulls the fire back. So that's the firebox back in. You remember when we started, you could pull it and waggle it about, it would come away. That's solid now. And then you just tidy the cables off. And you can adjust the tightness with these. So now I'm going to start putting it all back together. Obviously it needs a good clean out because it's really dusty, not been used for a while. So I'm going to clean it all up, put it back together, and then we'll test it. This carpet, by the way, is being replaced. See, there's paint on it and stuff. So for those of you saying, why haven't you got a dust sheet down? Yeah, that's why. So put the burner back in. Control lever is back connected. There's a battery in it. I've turned the gas back on. So what I want to do now is just make sure it works. If it doesn't work, then we have to do a repair, and putting all the coal bed back in means we have to take it all out again. So just going to light it now because it might need a new pilot assembly or a gas valve, or anything could be wrong, thermocouple. So with the gas back on, I'll pull that down. Just hold it for a couple of seconds. Seems to be okay, and then lift it back up for max. Okay. Most of the time when I work on a gas fire, I'll just go on my phone, Google the model, and you can download the instruction manual. And especially good for arranging the coal bed, because you need to fit the coal bed as the manufacturer intended. If you don't, the appliance can become dangerous. That's the coals in, according to the instructions. Okay, that's all fired up and working, put it all back together, cleaned everything. It was really dusty. I've also put some extra cement around the edges just to make a nice job that can be decorated now. So obviously with a job like this, it's a gas job, you need to be qualified to work on gas. I don't show you every little thing. There's obviously tests we do on the chimney, spillage tests and stuff. I don't want to show you that for obvious reasons. But it's on, it's passed all its checks, it's looking good, and the landlord's going to be pleased with that. And just to finish off, to let you know, this week, myself and Lawton Tubes, we visited 2 colleges, Northampton College and Leicester College, the college I trained at, to speak to the students about copper as a material, where it comes from, how it's mined, how it goes from the raw material into the copper tube we use at work. And then we did some pipe bending with the pipe bending challenge, spoke to them about my career, social media, stuff like that. It's completely free, so if you want us to come to your college, drop me a message. Where you work now and from college. So for example, if you're fitting boilers on site, you're fitting bathrooms, and you're doing breakdowns, you're going to be really good at breakdown. And all of these people get tips from them, learn from them, and then it makes you better. So then if you do ever go to fix a boiler, you can have all that knowledge that you've picked up from other people that you don't necessarily get at work if you're only installing boilers. So it's great for that. Also, if you're ever on a job and you're stuck,